Koerner with his second block of the first quarter. Jokic falling away, puts it in. The first finals game in franchise history is a rousing success. Caldwell Pope chasing with 5 fouls. Inside, Adebayo, and a foul. Murray, step back, three-pointer. Won't go. The Miami Heat have tied the NBA Finals. Gordon drives and finishes. Goes right at Butler, leans in, shot is good. It's the Christian Brown show here on the fourth. What an answer after the disappointing loss in Game 2 at home. Brown drives with confidence, layup, banks it in off the glass. Gordon to Caldwell Pope, three-pointer, bang! Dontavious Caldwell Pope. A spectacular performance on the road here in Game 4. Murray falling away. Rebound, Brown banks it home. At last, the long wait is over. After 47 years, the Denver Nuggets can finally call themselves NBA champions.
Congratulations to the Denver Nuggets. They are NBA champions for the first time in franchise history. I'm Tim Kalinowski filling in for Maria Marino. This is Green Dot Daily. And if you're here with us, you know that we are live every weekday at 3 Eastern on our YouTube channel and in the Action app. But this is the second to last Green Dot Daily before we do a little summer recess. So I'm basically the substitute teacher today. And that leads me in to say, if you missed the show, you can find us on demand. If you missed any of our picks, if I just had a booger on my face and you want to rewatch it, go and find us on demand. Also, the show is brought to you by BetMGM. Use bonus code ACTION when signing up to get $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. It's championship season. The Nuggets were crowned last night. We'll have more on that a little later because right now we want picks, we want bets, and unless you're betting the NBA draft, if you're looking for your hoops fix, you got to turn to the WNBA. And luckily, I came prepared today, so we'll have Sean Koerner on to give us his WNBA picks for a 3-game slate tonight. But before that, Game 5 of the Stanley Cup playoffs is tonight, and the cup will be in the building. Will that cup be raised by the Vegas Golden Knights? I don't know. Or should we buckle up for a Game 6? Luckily, I have Nick Martin, who can hopefully point us in the right direction. Nick, how we doing?
Doing great, Tim. I'm pumped for this game tonight. You know, love to see a Game 6, but I don't know if we're getting there.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Look, aside from, first off, we'll go with the current odds right now. Vegas minus 1,100 to win the Stanley Cup. Florida plus 700. I mean, it doesn't look good for the Panthers. And aside from potting some pretty timely power play goals, what has Vegas done so well to be up 3-1 in this series?
So I think the first thing that I'd say Vegas has done really well, they've really controlled their turnovers in the bad areas of the ice, which is where Florida's feasted. They feasted on Boston that way. Toronto, same, not as much as Carolina, but it's been a huge strength for them, and we've seen Vegas really control play on that front. They've been tremendous on the penalty kill, which really negates one of the areas where everyone thought Florida probably had an edge. And they've done an excellent job getting bodies in front of Sergei Bobrovsky and not letting him just steal this series the way that he did the first 3 series. I don't know if he's a little out of gas on top of that, but it's really just looked like Vegas is the better team altogether and pretty much all fronts. I think they're definitely worthy of being up 3-1 right now.
I think you could add in one more thing there, the kind of the war of attrition. Matthew Tkachuk, he seems more than banged up. He played limited minutes in that third period. What can you say about Tkachuk? Are we going to see him tonight? Are they going to do the old dupe? He plays him warm up, takes warm up, and then doesn't actually play. What can you expect? What are you listening to on 32 Thoughts? Is he playing?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards him getting in there just because if Lesterainen sits too, they don't have like a convincing option to get in there. Like, I don't think he's hurting the roster that much if they give him a try. So who knows? His lines are down on books. So if you're thinking maybe let's try and, go under on everything and see if he takes like 3 shifts and then is over it. Vegas is onto that idea.
Fun.
I mean, he's definitely dinged up, and that's another reason they've dominated is that Tkachuk line has really not been going the last couple nights. So that hurts them. And then to mention Listerinen too, like that third line had been awesome for Florida. And he's not a huge name, but they haven't found the same results with Lomberg in his spot. So it's really just everything's kind of blowing up for Florida right now. And that is heavily reflected in the betting line. Like it's minus 200 some places now. The games haven't been anywhere near that all series long. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of people who think it's closing up tonight.
Yeah, I said, you're going to help point us in the right direction here. Like, look, I look at a game and I see it's either you pick Florida, you pick Vegas, but you have another way to get at it because we don't love that steep Vegas line that has been pretty, inconsistent with what we've seen the first 4 games of this series. What are you looking to bet tonight?
So I think going back to Aiden Hill under his save prop, it's 28.5 tonight. It was 29.5 last time out, and that extra shot did actually save us in game 4. But I think this spot sets up where it should be even tighter. If I'm Vegas, I think, they're going to be nervous. It's going to be one of those things. Maybe they don't finish their chances, that sort of thing. But, you can always control your defensive work rate and playing a well-structured game on that front. At this point, they're just deeper than Florida. Like, I think this is a kind of bet where we can tap into who's going to control more of the play. So Hill has averaged below 29 in this series. I think that tonight's spot sets up to be tighter, if anything. And obviously Vegas is a way bigger favorite than they has been. And it's not like game script has helped them or helped this prop at all series long. Vegas has been consistently playing with the lead, and this prop has still mainly been going under. So I just think it's a good way to target what I expect from the Knights tonight when they're minus 200 in the game. I think it's a good way to get at, them just continuing their strong defensive play. And then another thing that it works in favor of this bet, I know the Panthers power play hasn't been great, but they're still more likely to get some shots on the man advantage. You would think that it's going to tighten up a bit. Like, I think you would probably agree it's been surprising how tightly it's been reffed. So I think more even strength play would help this as well, and that it's likely we see that. So to me, 28.5 is just giving a lot of respect to where Florida has been trending kind of all playoffs and all season, but versus this Vegas team with how they're defending right now in this spot, I think we could see a cagey affair, and that number's just a little too high.
Nick, you brought up a lot of good points. All you really had to say to me was, I'm Nick, and I'm taking a goalie under saves prop. I love when you take goalie props, especially unders. Major sweats. I tailed you on this on Saturday night. I was at like a family cookout, family event, and I'm just sitting there sweating that Hill under. So I'll be joining you again for game 5. But I have one more thing to bring up. Cup's in the building tonight. Cup can be awarded to Vegas. I'm looking at these Conn Smythe odds, and Marchessault is minus 550 on BetMGM as we speak. I'm of the camp that I don't think he's that big of a favorite. I look at Hill. Hill's 9-1. I look at Eichel's 18-1. To me, I am going to throw a little pizza money, I think, on Hill and Eichel and say maybe Marchessault has an off night. Hill has a shutout tonight, and that sways the voters. Tell me I'm crazy.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, if I was voting, I think I'd vote for Eichel ahead of Marchessault because they're really close. Like, Eichel's got one less point. Marchessault's got more goals, it's obviously tough to finish. But Eichel's the more important two-way player for the Knights. Like, he's the one driving the bus more. I think, if you really thought it out, it's been clear that he's done more. I just get scared at this point, like that a lot of it is like the odds makers know kind of the media perception and where we're going on that front. So for Vegas, I don't know. I'd probably just leave it. But I mean, yeah, I'm definitely not thinking like there's any point in betting Marchessault at that number.
Yeah, I mean, I think you brought up a good point when you're talking about anything, a vote for MVP like this. You're handicapping what the voters, what they're going to do, not necessarily who you would think would be the most valuable player in the Stanley Cup. But for me, I just think that the voters love themselves some Eichel, especially after the monster trade. It's like great storyline for these writers. How could they not love that?
Yeah, I agree. And like, I personally think people will think this is even crazier, but with how balanced Vegas has been, and like, it's hard to make this case when we're talking about a 5-game series, but it's the whole playoffs. I think Bobrovsky's been the most valuable player. Like, Florida's not here without him. I think he did a lot more than any night has done. I don't think it's a lot of fun to like, have him win it in a 5-game series. But, if I'm looking at how these teams got here and who made the biggest overall difference from either side, for me, it's still Bobrovsky, but it's just, it's hard to say that when he's had a bit of a lesser series here.
Yeah, not quite summer for hockey fans yet. That could be the case by the end of the night, though. Cup is in the building. Nick, always a pleasure, my man. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Tim.
I told you from the jump, the NBA season wrapped up last night, yes, but there is still basketball to be bet. A 3-game slate in the WNBA tonight. Washington is laying 4.5 at the Indiana Fever. Total in that game, 157.5. And then it's the Atlanta Dream at the New York Liberty. Liberty, 10.5 point favorites, total 169.5. And then we close out the night with the Seattle Storm at the Phoenix Mercury. Phoenix laying 7.5. The total is 161.5. All of those via BetMGM. And who better to get a pick from in the WNBA than Sean Koerner? When I'm hosting and I see Koerner's name, that relaxes me. Koerner, you're one of my favorites. What are we looking at tonight in the WNBA?
Yeah, so I'm actually going with that third game, that Storm Mercury game. I like the under 80.5 for the first half. I'm going with the first half total. The Mercury play at the third slowest pace, Storm fourth fastest. So it seems like, we should see a fairly average pace here, but both teams rank first and second in my pace strength of schedule. So both of these teams have faced the fastest schedules in the league, which is inflating their season-to-date pace numbers. So this could actually be a slower pace game. Plus, just in terms of the matchup, the best way to attack both of these defenses is inside the paint. Both teams rank bottom 3 in terms of percentage of points allowed inside the paint. However, both offenses rank bottom 2 in terms of scoring points inside the paint. So I think this game we're going to see a lot of 3-pointers, which both defenses are a little bit better at defending. So I'm projecting this game closer to 160.5, but we just saw the full game total go from 162.5 to 161.5. But the first half line has stayed pat at 80.5. I'm actually showing more value on the first half under. I'm projecting it closer to 78.5. So that's why I'm locking in the first half under here.
I'm all in. You tell me a first half under. And for me, those 10 o'clock starts, like I don't want to have to worry about a late night sweat on a Tuesday. So first half, I'm fine with it. We'll head over to the MLB now. The Subway Series gets underway tonight at Citi Field. 2 games, obviously Yankees and the Mets. Tell me what I should be looking for.
Yeah, so for my first prop, I'm going with Luis Severino under 4.5 Ks. You can get at plus 124 right now. I still like it at even if you get that. He missed a couple months last season due to a right lat injury. He re-injured it this year during spring training and wasn't able to make his debut this year until late May. And he's struggled so far in his first 4 starts. His K rate is way down, close to 8 per K per 9. And the underlying data supports that. He's seen his swinging strike rate drop to 10%. However, I am extremely concerned that the last 2 starts for him, his fastball velocity has dropped 2 miles per hour. That's a huge red flag for him because that's exactly what happened last year when he injured his lat. So I think he was pitching through that last year and they shut him down. He might be doing that here. So all the underlying data suggests, that he's not getting as many hitters to whiff. And I'm worried that his lat injury might be flaring up here and he's just pitching through it. So that's a huge concern. I'm already showing value on his under 4.5. I'm projecting closer to 125, minus 125. The Mets lineup should be really tough to K today. Home plate ump, Rob Drake, tends to squeeze pitchers. So there's a lot of reasons to love the under. And again, I think the lat could be an issue right here because his fastball velocity is down 2 miles an hour. So I just love the downside on his strikeout prop here.
I think you could take out Severino and insert Kalinowski because I played catch in the backyard yesterday, and in my lat, everything is flaring up as well. So I don't know if you have any trends on me pitching in wiffle ball. Or...
I would love to set your strikeout prop. I would need a little bit more info, but would love to see that happen.
Yeah, I'm scared you would actually nail it. We go out west now. The Guardians at the San Diego Padres. You have a prop here as well.
Yeah, so I like Joe Musgrove to go under 5.5 strikeouts in that game as well. So it's at minus 145 right now, but I'm projecting this closer to like minus 200. So I would bet this down to about minus 170. So I think there's a ton of value here. You know, he has a 9.15 K per nine to start the season, but the underlying data suggests it should be closer to about 8.5. And the one thing I've noticed is he's not throwing his slider as much. His slider is filthy. That's been his best strikeout pitch for each of the last 5 seasons. He's racked up the most strikeouts with that pitch specifically. He threw it 24% of the time last year and generated a 36% whiff rate. However, this year he's only throwing it 14% of the time and generating a 28% whiff rate. So his K rate will plummet if that trend continues. The Guardians are also a tough matchup. So I'm projecting this closer to minus 200. That's assuming that the human strikeout machine, Mike Zunino, is in the lineup. Typically they slot him in there 8th. So we're kind of sweating the lineup come out. If he's not in the lineup, I'm going to love this prop even more. So I'm factoring Zunino 8. The fact that they tucked Zunino away at the bottom of the lineup means it's unlikely Musgrove will get to face him a 3rd time. So that's huge for a prop like this. So like I said, I'm projecting this one closer to minus 200 with Zunino in the lineup.
Sweating out lineup releases.
Yes.
It must be the middle of June. I have one more question for you. For people like myself that are just, I'm just getting myself in the full baseball swing.
Yeah.
Why aren't the Padres better?
Oh, that's a good question. I can't diagnose it. Maybe Joe Musgrove not being able to throw a slider is part of the problem.
I'm trying to put my finger on it. I thought I'd ask you. I wanted to blindside you because I wanted a quick reaction because I feel like it's hard to put your finger on it.
Yeah, I think if you give me some time, I'll write you a 2-page document and I'll send it to you by the end of the day if that works.
Thank you. I'll forward that to my group.
I'll look into that.
I'll forward that to my group message as well because they seem to love to bet the Padres and then be disappointed. So always a pleasure, Sean. NBA is out. We are now WNBA and MLB. Yes. That's what we're betting. I'm excited to do so, and I'm excited to tell. Thanks, Koerner.
Thanks for having me.
And if you're looking forward to a parade coming up in Denver.
When is parade?
Thursday.
No. I need to go home. Okay.
Jokic is must watch. He's must listen to. I don't know, these NBA people, they say, the Nuggets, they don't get enough coverage. This Jokic walking highlight reel on the court, off the court, post, in his pressers. I love this guy. Charlie, great to have you with us. First off, I'm just going to tell you, when I see that, I don't think it's that crazy. If you put that in perspective of players that just won a championship, just went months into this grind, months into this season, this postseason, it's like, and he's saying, I'm tired. It makes me think I'm more shocked when guys are out there, drinking and all this, they have this immediate second wind. And I know it's like the adrenaline or what, but I'm not that shocked to see a guy say, I'm tired. I just want to go home. I'm surprised more people don't say this.
I'm totally with you. The Joker deserves to go home. He also has been away from Serbia for how long now? He's had to play a whole season in America. He's been away from home. Obviously, his brothers have been in watching him play. But at the end of the day, the man's a walking triple-double. The man won a championship. The man led the entire NBA playoffs, first time ever, in points, rebounds, and assists. Cut him some slack and let the man go home.
Growing up, playing hockey, playing, a little bit in college, and like you play a Friday night game or a Saturday night game and you go out after the game, there is no worse hangover from just how dehydrated you are. You play a full game and then you go drink, you don't get a lot of sleep, you barely have any water. I'm watching this and I'm thinking, dude, the guy's got it right. He doesn't want to have the worst hangover ever. He just wants to relax.
Yeah, it makes sense when you're the star of the team and have to play 40 plus minutes every single game. If you're a bench player that plays 12 minutes, you come in, you bang a couple threes, and then you go off to the bench, and then you're complaining, I think that's a different story. But this is a guy who did literally everything you asked of him. He won you the championship. Finally, he got his ring. He's the actual MVP, not Joel Embiid. And now he wants a break. So let the man go home to Serbia. That's my take.
How would you react if you won anything? I don't know if you've ever won anything in your life. Maybe a board game,
A parlay or two.
Maybe a part. Oh yeah, you have won some parlays. I guess I was going to say like a first 5 innings bet every 10 days or so. How would you react if you won something as big as a championship? I guess the equivalent is a parlay.
Yeah. You know what? I'd say obnoxious is an understatement if I won an athletic achievement. I'd say parlays, I'm a little bit more level-headed and betting wise, but I would be pretty obnoxious as like the athlete that won. If I was like of Nikola Jokic's stature, I'd be the opposite. You mentioned how you're not surprised when people are tired. I think I'd have that second win. I'd want to be like the Stanley Cup champions usually do. And I think back to the Washington Capitals back like whatever it is, 5 years ago ish, when they had a parade and partied in DC for weeks on end, and it felt like it never ended. I'd probably take a victory lap or 3.
I don't know, man. I can see myself being very, very exhausted. Once the task is there, you complete it. I'm like, can we just rest? It's really one of the most phenomenal athletic feats is to play an entire season, a full postseason, and then go out for 5 straight days. So, I mean, I don't think I'd be as obnoxious, but I guess you feel otherwise.
Would you celebrate with an adult beverage or 2? I feel like I'd be like,
okay. Yeah, but I want to be like in a recliner. I couldn't even,
Okay, so
I couldn't like jump up and down and party.
would you want to be in a recliner like a wheelchair like Jalen Watson was for the Chiefs parade when he was so drunk he couldn't move?
That's kind of the way to do it, I think.
That's what I think. You celebrate, you drink, you sit, you get a little too drunk, and then you get pushed around. I mean, what better than that than winning a championship and getting yourself pushed around? You don't have to use your legs.
Yeah, I guess you have a good point. I would like the wheelchair thing to be a trend. If I win anything coming up, I don't know, maybe a softball league or something, I will request the wheelchair. Yeah, exactly. As we head into the MLB season now, Charlie, looking forward to tailing your picks, looking forward to checking you out on the Action app. Have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. It was great to talk to you, my guy.
Hey, always a pleasure, brother.
And remember, any picks that you heard from Nick Martin, Sean Koerner, maybe you listen to my Conn Smythe little taste. You can find all of those by following Green Dot Daily in the Action app. We track them so you don't have to. It's the greatest app in the entire world. And also remember, Green Dot Daily is presented by BetMGM. Use bonus code ACTION when signing up to get $1,000 paid back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. This is the penultimate Green Dot Daily episode before we break for the summer. It feels like, last day of school's tomorrow. Today should have been a field day or some sort. I'm going to go run around the backyard a little bit, shoot some hoops after doing this show today. So thank you everyone who stays with us all season long. We're excited to get the summer underway.